Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be looking over the changes to Age of Sigmar in the new Battlescroll. Yay! The Battlescroll is up finally, and I am not worried. As a new Cities of Sigmar player, there's nothing in here for me, so I'm not really interested. So let's have a little look. So the General's Handbook, there's been a lot of changes. So the Lords of the Primal Frost Rupture changed the Rupture spell that is casting value of a 10 and the range of 18. It says to cast resolve one of the following effects. I've not really played too much of this General's Handbook, and the battles I have, I've not really used wizards that much and not really paid much attention to it. So there's a lot of changes here. I'm not going to go through them because I don't fully know what has changed and what hasn't changed, because like I said, I haven't really been playing them. But there are a number of changes here. But one of the things I can see is an incarnate, and I have noticed from the rumblings that a lot of people are not bringing incarnates, which I kind of like because I was never a big fan of the horrible things. So the Grand Alliance Order, you got to really love the colours on the colours here. So the couple of things has changed. So for the Stormcast Eternals, add the following battle tactic: secure the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if there are any friendly Stormcast Eternal units wholly within each large quarter of the battlefield and more than 6 inches from all enemy units. Wow, that is so easy to do. So essentially what you do is you can get 2 points, secure the battlefield battle tactic. Basically, you just need a unit of Stormcast Eternals in each quarter of the battlefield, and they have to be 6 inches away from enemy units. That's pretty easy to do, and in some cases you might even be able to pull this one off on turn 1. Depending on the deployment maps, you might be able to get in and drop in and be outside of 6, and it's an easy 2 points. So that's kind of cool. The Lumineth Realm Lords have got a bit of a change, couple of changes actually. The Great Nation of your Metrica changed the Mountain Realm rule to the Enduring as a Rock ability for friendly your Metrica Alreth units worsen the rend characteristic of attacks that target this unit by 2 instead of 1 to a minimum of 0. Absolutely brilliant. This is how it should have been from day one. Thank Lord the Lord. This is so good. Basically what it means is it worsens the rend, it doesn't ignore a rend. So your rend is just it just worsens the rend by 2. So if you've got -2 rend and you're coming up against your Metrica, which is the cows and the Stone Guard, you're literally just straight away, boom, 2, done, straight away, gone, which is so good. Gonna have to see how that works in regards to things like the Stone Guard and the cow, to see if they actually have a worsen the rend already, and see how that will interact with that, because you could potentially get it slightly higher if that's the case. But this is really, really cool. It's really, really good. So the Enduring Rock, when this unit is targeted by attack, worsen the rend. Well, that is the rule that I was going to be looking for. Worsen the rend characteristic of this attack by 1 to a minimum of 0. Cool. So, I wonder if that stacks. Worsen the rend characteristic of attacks that target this unit by 2, and if they've already got... no. So let's see how that works now. Right, so basically if you have the Enduring Rock rule, which the Stone Cows, the big Stone Mountain Cows have, and the Stone Guard do, basically if you're in a Metrica army, you're always going to be worsening the rend characteristic of 1 if you've got that rule. But if you're in a Metrica army, you're going to be worsening it by 2 rather than 1, which is kind of cool. So it doesn't stack. It just kind of, the city state kind of just makes that rule better by 1. So Deep Thinkers, once per battle in your hero phase, when this unit attempts to cast the spell, its first spell in the phase, it is automatically cast with a casting roll of a 9. Do not roll 2d6, but it can still be unbound. Pretty sure they've just reworded that. This unit cannot be modified for the rules purposes. Change to, okay. Remove that this cannot be modified from the rule and change it to once per battle in your hero phase. So basically, primal dice don't affect it. That's fine. So they added in the Thekin, the sharks. I believe this is what this is on. The sort of enclave that likes the sharks, the orange ones. Change the Bloodthirsty Shiver rules to you can include Bloodthirsty Shivers in your army, page 96. If the unmodified hit roll of an attack made by this unit in a Bloodthirsty Shiver is a 6, that attack scores 2 additional hits to the target instead of 1. Cool. I believe that is the shark unit. You get like a unit of sharks. I think there's 3 of them, and they kind of go on like a blood frenzy. And if your unit is damaged, they get bloodthirsty and they get to do stuff to you, and so they get additional hits, which is kind of cool. Sharks are really good. So that'll be quite nice. So, Chaos. So, Magickin and Nurgle, I've got a bit of a change. So, don't squabble children. Pick an objective wholly outside of your territory. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control the objective and any friendly Rotbringers units and any friendly Nurgle Demon units contest that objective. So, basically, a new battle tactic for Nurgle. So you pick an objective wholly outside of your territory. So outside of your territory, which is when you look at the map, it'll have your enemy territory, attacking and defending. So outside of that coloured area. And if it's on the line, it's not in your territory and it's not outside your territory, and because it's not wholly within, so that'll also be available. You complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn if you control that objective and any friendly Rotbringers, which are basically the mortal element of the army, and any friendly Nurgle Demon unit that contests this objective. So Nurgle or Demon, and basically you can take that because it's not in your territory because it's outside your territory. So even if it's on the line of your territory, you'll be able to move on to it, take that. It's 2 easy, free battle tactics. Like 2 points straight away. That's really, really easy. Okay, cool. So it's a free battle tactic. Skaven, add the following battle tactic. Flee. You complete the battle tactic at the end of the turn. If any friendly Skaven battle line units retreat this turn, and any friendly Skaven heroes retreat this turn. Right, okay. So you complete this battle tactic at the end of your turn. If any friendly Skaven battle line units retreat, and so there's no requirement to have 1 or 2 or multiples. You can basically get a unit of Skaven into combat and then run away, and you get a battle tactic. Right. Cool. Okay. It's really easy to do. Like, that's like 2 points. So easy. Also, there is a change to the Grey Seer Screaming Bell Plague Furnace. Basically, it no longer needs a unit of rats to push it. Yay! Yay for mobility. So that's kind of cool to see. So, Slays the Darkness, Carbalist and Blasphemous Rituals. Change the second paragraph in addition. If you carry out the draw on the power heroic action, page 72, with the Carbalist hero, you can immediately carry out the same heroic action with another Carbalist hero that has the Eye of the Gods keyword, and that is within 3 inches of the first. Cool, so you basically get to do this hero action twice. That's kind of nice. Okay, so Death. So Night Haunt, Fright or Flight. When the battle ends, you complete this grand strategy if 1 or more objectives are being contested by friendly Night Haunt units, and there are no enemy units within 6 of any friendly Night Haunt units that are contesting an objective. Basically, you get that grand strat at the end of the game if there's nothing within a unit of your army and you're sitting, and that unit is sitting on an objective. Yeah, that is, shut up, watch. That is so easy to do, especially if you've got an objective back in your deployment zone that you can screen off really well and your opponent can't get anywhere near. That's essentially a good grand strat. Okay. And I believe that was changed because I believe that that used to be that if they basically had no models on the army and you weren't anywhere near any of their models because they don't have any on the table, they still got their grand strat. And I think that's basically what they've changed it to, that you now need an objective, which is kind of cool. So apparently this is a big nerf to OCR Bone Reapers. So you change the last paragraph. If this unit is an Immortus Guard or a Necropolis Stalkers, that unit can only heal up to 3 wounds allocated to that unit. Or if no wounds have been allocated on a 3+, you can bring 1 model back with 4 wounds. Apparently this is a bit of a nerf because it was like pumping out like the ability across all of the healing in your army. You're able to do something like 20 wounds in healing. And now you can't really do that. I think it's something like 6 or something. So it's a bit of a nerf and a bit of a hit to them, but hey, they're really still pretty strong. So, you know, the vampires have had a bit of a change. So the lore of the vampires changed the Spirit Gale to the Spirit Gale is a spell that has a casting value of 7. Successfully cast, pick up the 3 different enemy units on the battlefield, and it suffers 1 mortal wound. If the unmodified casting roll of the spell is 9+, and this spell is not unbound, pick 6 different enemy units on the battlefield to suffer 1 mortal wound instead. Cool. Vampires are still pretty good, and they've had some points adjustments, but they're still pretty good. Oh look, nothing for Grand Alliance. Orcs. Destruction. Cool. Brilliant. Nothing at all. I'm not too sure if they needed anything, but no changes whatsoever. So the points changes. So Iden the Thekin got a lot of things coming down. So the King went down 20 points, the Turtle went down 30 points, the Soul Render went down 10 points, the Tidecaster went down 10 points, Reavers went down 10 points, Thralls went down 10 points, and the High King went down 20 points. Cool. 400 points for a Turtle is really, really good. The King is an absolute beast on the charge, especially in turn 3. Can pump out something like 15 attacks and just lift things. So to get him in on the battlefield now for 220 points is really, really good. Thralls being 110 points. Yeah, they're not great, but 110 points is not bad. Seraphon, I've seen a change to the Slan Starmaster. It's now gone up 15 points to 290. Cool. Stormcast Eternals have got a massive amount of points drops. Annihilators, these are the ones with the hammer and shield. They're down by 20. They're now at 150 points for 3. Annihilators with metric grand hammers. These are the ones that really hit hard. I think they hit on 3s, wound on 2s. It's like -2 Ren, 3 damage a hit. I think the 4 attacks for the unit champion. They're 200 points now. That I really like. I really love Annihilators. And 200 points is really good because you can now bring like 3 units, and that comes in at 600 points, which is kind of cool. And you can make these battle line by coming into like an Excelsior army, and I like that. And like for me, who's looking at Cities of Sigmar, I would be really tempted to bring in a nice big block of Annihilators, like 6 of them. The problem is I can't do any of the sort of dropping in on the battlefield because that's tied into the Stormcast army rules. But having like 6 guys running around off for 400 points with massive grand hammers, yeah, that sounds awesome. I'd love to do that. Knight Relictor is 90 points. It's crap. You're going to take a Lord Relictor anytime. Liberators are now 100 points, and they've gone down by 10. Lord Imperator is 140. He is clutch if you're going to be bringing the Annihilators, because he's the one that allows them to drop within 7 inches. Lord Relictor is now 130 points. Praetors are 130 points. They're like your bodyguard unit. Secretors are 110 points. Stormcast Chariots are 150 points. Wow. So all of the people with chariot armies, you're probably going to save yourself some points. I know at least one army in the local meta that's running 8 of them. So he's just saved himself 80 points. Wow. And probably with I think he's got Liberators as battle line or Vindicators. He's probably saved himself some even more points. Vindicators coming in at 110 points now, down by 10, is really good because I think Vindicators are a solid battle line unit for Stormcast Eternals. They do mortal wounds on 6s, they've got a 3-up save, they've got thunder armor, so when you kill them, they blow up. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But Stormcast is still not in a really good place, but they're just like Space Marines. Space Marines start out really strong, just like Stormcast Eternals did, and then by the end of the edition, they're not doing so well. And then when 4th edition comes next summer, they'll be bonkers again. So, Hedonists of Selesh, they've got a lot of points changes. So, Blissbarb Archers and Blissbarb Seekers have both gone up 10 points. Fiends, Painbringers, and Slangor Fiend Bloods have all gone down by points. And then the Slickbard Seekers and the Contorted Epitome and the Masquerade have all gone up points. Cool. Yep, they're some pretty good things. And I believe Blissbarb Archers are really, really strong. Are really quite good. So seeing them at 170 points is kind of nice. Mikekin and Nurgle, a lot of points drops apart from the new Harbinger of Decay, which apparently isn't really a change because in the book 1 of the Dawnbringers Crusade, he's labelled as 190 points. So this is kind of just changing what's in the battle tome to reflect that. So that's kind of good. But the Rotspawn, the Great Unclean One, Morbrick's Twiceborn, Plague Bearers, Blightkins are now 230 points, down from 250. I like that. I still think they may be 220 at the most. Rotbringer Sorcerers, Rotigus is now 400, and the Glockin is now 580. I believe he started at 700 points at the beginning of this edition. Skaven, a load of stuff have just dropped in points. So Deathmasters, the Grey Seer on Screaming Bell, it's gone down by 20 points and it now no longer needs a rat unit to move it. The Pel Hellpit Abomination has gone down by 20 points. Warp Lightning Cannons are now 140 points. They went down by 10. You're going to see 3 of these in pretty much every Skaven army. They can potentially kill themselves, but they can also pretty much delete whatever they target. As I had the Irish GT in August, I had Avalor striding up the battlefield, and a Warp Lightning Cannon hit him and did something like 22 mortal wounds to him. And I was just like, what the hell? This is nuts. So yeah, they're really kind of good. Very, very sort of skewy. They can be really good or they can be really bad. And when they're really bad, they kind of kill themselves. But yeah, it's you're playing Skaven, you know, so embrace the madness. Just embrace it. Warplock Jezebels have gone down by 10 points. Slaves to Darkness. So Chosen are now 230 points. Cool. Chaos Lord and Cardrack is 180. Gone down by 20 points. That is amazing. He is so good. And he hits like an absolute freight train. Chaos Warriors are now 180 points for 10, which is so good. Especially if you bring them in a unit of 20 and give them the marker Nurgle with the Nurgle Unholy Banner. Like, that is so good. Like, yeah, brilliant. Ogre Thermidors are 150 now, and Varangard are 280. Some good changes for Slaves to Darkness there. Nighthaunt, a load of things are now gone down by points. So the Revenants, the Haradrons, the Hex Race, and Lady Orlena have all gone down by points. Ossiat Bone Reapers have seen a mixed bag of points increases and points deductions. So the Harvester, the Mortek Guard, and the Mortek Crawler have all gone down by points. The Kavalos Death Riders have gone up in 10 points. I wasn't even aware that these were good and worthy of a points increase, but apparently they are. And Catacross has gone up by 40 points to 500. He is a bit of a monster. So, yeah, okay, cool. Then, as completely expected, the Soulblight Gravelords have been absolutely hammered. Belladonna has gone up by 20. Corpse Carts have gone up by 10. Zombies have gone up by 30, so they're now 150. Skeletons have gone up by 10 to 110. Dire Wolves are now 150 points. Fellbats are now 90 points. Gozov the Gravekeeper is 140. Graveguard are now 160. Manfred von Karstein is now 400. Nefertari is now 410. The Chamberlain is 180. A Vampire Lord on foot is now 150. A Vampire Lord on a Zombie Dragon is now 480. And a Vangorian Lord is now 300. And a Right King and a Right King on a Skeleton Steed are 150 and 170. And that is it. That is all of the changes. Like, wow. So it's kind of an interesting one. There's been some changes that I kind of expected. Like, everybody knew Soulblight Gravelords were going to get hit. There's some other changes that are a little bit weird. Apparently, one of the endless spells is also dropped by 20 points. It's the Maelstrom. Again, don't really use it, so I don't really know what it is. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Some interesting changes. I'm just going to continue on with my Cities of Sigmar. There was a lot of people calling out for Cities of Sigmar to have changes in this thing, but the book isn't officially out yet, so we won't get hit on this one. But Cities of Sigmar players, be aware that come the winter FAQ, we're gonna get changes. We're definitely gonna get changes. So I would not be surprised if we don't see this little guy, the Warforger, this one, who's the one that's causing all the issues. I can't see him staying at 90 points. He's probably going to go to 150 plus points. But this is Games Workshop, so Games Workshop, probably knowing how they normally do things, because they never do things correctly and fix the problems, they'll probably ignore him and keep him at 90 and target the unit instead. And I would reckon they'll probably put the Fusiliers up to about 180 points for 10. This doesn't fix any of the issues whatsoever. In fact, the army that was floating around that was broken had a unit of 30 and 2 units of 20. If they increase this points to 180, which is what a lot of people are thinking that they will do, all that does is you lose 10 Fusiliers. So rather than have a unit of 30 and 2 units of 20, you basically take 2 units of 30 that are now battle line. If this guy doesn't get touched and stays at 90 points, you bring 2 of these, and you're essentially having a unit that has mortal wounds on 6s, has a 27-inch range, not including movement. They can also then move and still fire at full range. So essentially they can push that over 30 inches threat radius. And on top of that, they can also have a 3-up save that ignores rend modifiers if it's from ranged attacks. So they're basically really, really good. And then slap the wheel behind it, because if they don't touch the wheel, which is the character on the little plinth, she's 150 points right now. If I can see her going well over 200 points, I'd probably say 200 to 220 at least for her. Otherwise, basically, if she doesn't, that's just going to be sitting behind them 2 units, and you're going to get a 5-up ward save on them as well. But you've got to also bear in mind that there are going to be a lot of pigs riding around, running and charging, and causing absolute carnage on the battlefield for quite some time. So if you are going to be going into the big shooty meta for Cities of Sigmar, you're going to need some good screening units. So you're going to need quite a lot of steel helms. So points are going to be tight, but we'll see how that changes in up-and-coming future balance slates for Age of Sigmar. But if you like what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and drop a comment of what you think of this update to Age of Sigmar, and I will see you in the next video, peeps. Goodbye for now.